Hey guys, and welcome to the long anticipated part 1 of our Pacific Crossing series. For the last few weeks you watched us tirelessly replace every part of our rigging, then provision the boat to be able to take on the largest ocean in the world. So stay tuned as this salty crew of 8 people plus 2 dogs take on our first proper ocean crossing. So I'm Colin, and this is the crew of Parlay Revival. From hurricane damaged to broken bulkheads and getting struck by lightning not once but twice, to being the strongest and fastest Lagoon 450 on the planet. We are now ready to embark on a 3,000-mile journey across the Pacific Ocean to French Poynesia before continuing on with our circumnavigation. So subscribe to follow our journey around this beautiful planet. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things you did. So what are you waiting for?
I'm Colin. I'm Jamie.
I'm Brittany. I'm Colleen.
I'm Katie.
I'm Steven.
I'm Vince.
I'm David, and we're crossing the Pacific
Ocean.
The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean in the world. Humans began to explore this vast stretch of ocean around 3,000 years ago as they made their way from Asia across the South Pacific and ended up in French Polynesia somewhere around 500 AD. Fast forward to today, where we're following the paths of those daring adventurers, but oh how the times have changed. Boat design and navigation aids have long surpassed their predecessors, but the human drive towards adventure remains strong. This is a significant moment in the history of Parlay Revival, and taking on this daunting passage are 8 brave souls from all different walks of life.
So today we're crossing the Pacific. The butterflies are slowly kicking in now. It's been more or less 5 years coming. We had a few hiccups.
We're delayed about a month or so, I guess, since when we wanted to leave, and we've had a few things pop up, including a major, which was the rigging, and the crew that we've had down here to help push through that. I don't think I could have handpicked a better team to do that with. Again, Parlay just attracts the most incredible people.
I'm pinching myself. I can't believe it. I don't know how I got so lucky. It's so far out of my normal everyday, where I'm from, where I live.
My whole life, I've been like, there's something bigger out there. There's something bigger out there. Like, I want to explore. Like, I need to get out of my hometown and go find, like, what is it that's bigger out there? And there's not much that's bigger than this.
So much of this terrifies me. I'm pretty much brand new to sailing, I would say. Like, this is truly like my first sailing experience, obviously my first big passage and crossing.
It's something that I didn't think that I would get a chance to do, and now I'm going to get that opportunity. So I'm grateful to the crew, grateful to Colin. Couldn't have happened at a better time for me.
It's like I've been watching Colin talk about wanting to cross the Pacific since I started watching the channel like 2 or 3 years ago. 3 years ago. So to be a part of it, I mean, it's to me, it's everything.
Maybe a little over a year ago, I was meant to cross over to French Poynesia with a different boat, and that didn't work out. And I'm so friggin' grateful that didn't work out, because I wouldn't have ran into Parlay. I wouldn't have met this boat and gotten the opportunity to meet these people and be part of this amazing, amazing project. I won't even call it a project, it's a lifestyle. It's my family, it's my home, and I would not pick a different boat to cross with.
I've always been on Parlay, and Parlay will be always a part of me. So so it's very exciting to take it on with all the crew and Colin. He's done a lot of hard work to get where it is.
Yeah, been a huge challenge to get here, but we're ready more than ever.
It's finally go time.
I can't wait. Let's go.
I can't wait to see this boat just get out of Puerto Vallarta.
Are you ready? Are you ready to push off?
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
When going from one country to another, you always have to clear out with customs and immigration. In Mexico, they come down to the boat and do a full inspection for any illegal substances. They then give you a zape, which is an exit document for you to show the next country you are going to. Then they stamp everyone's passports. From this moment onwards, you are a temporary resident of the deep blue ocean. International waters will be your home, and you will be illegal in any other country until you have officially cleared in with the authorities and explained where you have just come from. We're officially cleared out of Mexico!
Safe travels. Adios. Gracias.
Okay, just cleared out. We're officially out of Mexico. We're gonna go to Punta de Mita. We know the place well. That's where the surf normally rolls in, and give the hull one more clean. We want it spotless so that we go as fast as absolutely possible. And then we're gonna push off and we're into it. We're not gonna see land for 350 miles. When we see Socorro, might stop there and tweak the rig one last time, and then we're off. Then we are off into the distance, heading to French Polynesia. No land for like 2,300 miles as the crow flies, so we're actually going to be sailing for a lot more than that. In yachting, the straight line I just mentioned is called the rum line, and due to weather and other external factors, the distance actually sailed is quite a lot longer as we run from storms or chase favourable winds. We are expecting to be sailing for a distance closer to 3,000 nautical miles. I can't believe I'm crossing the Pacific Ocean with my best friend Colin.
Finally, he admits it.
How much faster do we go with a clean bottom?
Obviously it depends how dirty it was in the first place, but we've had it where it's so dirty and we clean the bottom when we pick up a knot. So a knot is an extra mile every hour, which would be 24 miles every day. So over 10 days, it's an extra 240 miles. So when you're doing long distances, every knot counts. The growth on the hull was fairly minimal, as we had just given Parlay a fresh coat of total boat anti-foul a few months prior. So it was a quick scuff with the scotch pads, then I held a safety chat before setting off into the big blue. Okay, let's get into it. Life jacket. So we're gonna do the extended version of this because this passage is obviously no joke. I always do a safety briefing whenever we have a new crew member on board, but this was to be the most important meeting we have had to date. Where we were going was thousands of miles from anything, the nearest hospital an unimaginable distance away and impossible to get to in a hurry. One of my biggest fears would be a man overboard scenario at night time. Every crew member has to know how to react immediately and what we all have to do to make sure that person doesn't get lost at sea. A head bobbing around in the wild ocean at night, with wind and currents affecting both the person overboard but also the boat, would be damn near impossible to find if the boat wasn't turned around pretty much instantly after the accident. We then go up to the flybridge and discuss what to look out for on watch. Yes, we have autopilot, and a backup one at that, but that doesn't mean we're allowed to sleep on watch. There are so many things to be aware of and be looking out for, which again become much harder at night. So I try to drum in the importance of good watchkeeping procedures for every single one of us. To make things a little bit easier for the new crew, we're going to pair up on watch so that there's two of us at all times. And with that, it was time to lift the anchor and finally set off the coast of Mexico towards French Polynesia. We're sailing!
Alright guys, it started. Now I really feel like I'm on passage. Super choppy, everything's slamming around.
Feel the waves coming. It's gonna be a rough one.
We're doing it!
Feels real now.
So stoked. So stoked. This is unreal.
Trying to get the shot.
Not even 10 miles off the coast.
First fish. How many fish are we gonna catch? 24.
First fish on Parlay. Wrong fish, but it was fun.
It's actually happening. That's Mexico. Slowly disappearing in the background. Got 2,600 miles to French Polynesia.
He's finally excited.
It's happening. I was standing on the bow before and I was almost crying just thinking about how much effort we've put into this boat to make this happen. To now, 2 lightning strikes, a whole pandemic, broken bulkheads, cracked rigging. Like it's insane. We're finally leaving. It's happening. There's no turning back now.
It hit me when Colin was doing the dishes and I was trying to do something and I got thrown here and then thrown over there. And then I was like, okay, it's on.
We do have some crazy waves though. Check this out. See that bouncing? We're getting thrown around a little bit. I'm feeling it in my stomach. I remember this feeling. It takes a day to overcome.
Look out the front there, like off the bow is just sky, sea, sky, sea. Just about finished my first watch. 2 hours just flew by. We're just plowing into it. Next is Colin and Steve. I'm going to instruct them to just hold 45 degrees to the wind. Well, the wind vane is going to do that and just let the boat do its thing. All they have to do is make sure that the wind stays at 45 degrees to us. You know, if we alter course a little bit because of that, I don't really care. We're heading in the right direction. It's all that matters. You know, another couple 100 miles and we'll be in the trade winds. It's happening! We're out of it.
The vlog is here.
Set alarm. I just sprayed deodorant. This deodorant is so bad that it sets off smoke alarms.
That's the second time it's done it, but I stand here and I just go and it goes straight into it.
So we're underway. Whoa, the waves are getting bigger. Yeah, I thought everything was great and we had our briefing and everyone was getting super excited, and then I just started to sort of feel like my breath getting a little bit shorter.
So this was Katie's first ever sailing experience, and she had a small panic attack at the thought of us being so far from land, or in other words, off to completely fend for ourselves in the middle of the biggest ocean in the world. She was solely relying on my abilities as a captain and the strength and the condition of the boat to get her safely to French Polynesia, an unfathomable number of miles away, and so I empathized with her fear in that moment.
When it really sets in, you kind of can't control those emotions and the feelings that come over you sometimes.
I was able to reassure her that we were well prepared for this trip, but it also made me realize the magnitude of what we were about to go through in her shoes, as I had been too excited myself to see it from anyone else's perspective. And it was no joke. Well, that was a little bit alarming. If she didn't feel better, then we might have had to turn around. I don't know what else we would have done, because we can't take someone across the Pacific who's panicking the whole time, but luckily she's calmed down a little bit.
Well guys, it's official. Day 2 of the passage, and we officially cannot see any speck of land. No land, no land, no land. We're out here.
And we've done 97 miles so far. That's 2,903 more to go.
How did you sleep?
I finally, I think, got to sleep about 7:30. About 7:45, thereabouts, I heard a jump and people yelling, and I thought maybe the mast came down or somebody went overboard, and they just lost 3 damn fish. So it's like I got up for nothing. Anyway, I'm still waking up.
I haven't slept, right, like a little bit. It's really rough, uncomfortable. Lost 4 fish, maybe 5 fish this morning.
Well, first of all, I guess I've been making a bunch of posts and kind of highlighting all the good things, and figured I'd give it a little bit of a reality check for all the rest of the patrons. So I wrote, and this is absolutely true, it's 2:18 and everything is going well. I was not able to get any sleep, was expecting that, being that I went to bed at 8 o'clock. On top of that, conditions in the forward cabins are quite difficult for sleep in these seas. I liken it to sleeping in a 45-gallon drum being dropped onto a trampoline and having someone beat on it with a 2x4 every 15 seconds. Tomorrow I get to fix my toilet, which no longer appears to drain. But fellow patrons, I'm loving every minute of it.
Been pretty horrible, but we were expecting it. It's the sea state. Just got this chop hitting us on that starboard side and just throwing the boat around, and then it gets under that first hull and slams into the second hull. It's called bridge slam, and it just shakes the whole boat.
I wasn't planning on sleeping. I was just chilling in the cabin. Katie had to wake me up. I blew it on my first watch. I feel bad no one else got some sleep. But I was out the second my head hit the pillow.
I was actually thinking it was going to be worse than this, so this is not as bad as I thought it'd be. But still not fun. David Shee over there is the only one getting any good sleep. And it's usually on his watch.
Show us how you've been sleeping.
2 minutes.
I'm gonna start wearing sunglasses because Katie's a
Like
narc.
I said,
A
I hadn't
narc.
done that
Hope
in
she
my
doesn't
head
make
yet.
any
When you gave
mistakes.
me-
I'll be
you
there to
started,
see it
you had
and
first
film
one.
it.
No.
I was vibing out to my music. Trick is you gotta lock your arms in behind the seat so you don't fall over. Otherwise you really get in trouble.
When it's time for my first shift.
So random things hop aboard overnight.
Well, we caught our first fish. This is a squid.
You can still eat that.
We're gonna wake Jamie up with this.
So we continued to sail deeper into the Pacific Ocean, and we took a moment to do a comparison between paper chart navigation and electronic. Sailors these days have so many electronic devices available to them that using paper charts at all is slowly becoming a dying art. I myself am guilty of this, as on Parlay I personally have our 3 chart plotters, Starlink, 2 iPads and 2 phones with Navionics, a laptop with OpenCPN, the PredictWind data hub, a Garmin InReach, an Iridium Go exec, and even a running watch that will give me our location. And that's not including any of the other cruise devices. So it would be incredibly unlucky for me to not know where we are on the ocean. I therefore don't even carry paper charts for the most part, which would be super expensive as we are constantly on the move anyway, and those things are not cheap. However, I still like to maintain some of my paper chart navigation skills sharp that I learned when I did my 200-ton license 10 years ago. So Colin and I are going to plot some positions now.
Well, I think we're gonna plot our beginning position, and then we will plot our current position now and see how many miles we came so far.
We'll take the coordinates at midday every day. So yesterday we were at 20 degrees, 21 minutes north.
That is the latitude, and it runs from north to south. Each minute of latitude on the scale is 1 nautical mile. So then every degree there is 60 minutes. So 20 degrees is right here, and then 21 minutes would be 10, 21 here. So then we would have to find our longitude and line the 2 lines up. 105, 106, 107.
And 32 minutes.
So with a ruler we can plot our position for yesterday and today, and then using the scale that Colin mentioned where 1 degree of latitude equals 60 nautical miles, we can work out the distance travelled on the chart and compare that to the electronic distance log.
From the start to our point yesterday, the distance was about 115 miles.
Yesterday I wrote down the distance according to the chart plotter and I got 118. So she's within 3 miles on this massive scale, which is hard to get accurate. So her paper charts were within 3 miles of my 24-hour distance. So I've just chosen to do 1 log at midday every day. You know, we're keeping track of everything the whole time, but just for my logging, I feel like one log a day is fine. I took a screenshot of the chart plotter so I can see my course over ground and everything. Course over ground was 267, sea state and stuff like that. I don't take all the details. So she's already started plotting our course. We're going to come slightly high and then drop and go fairly heavy south This is the equator here. So this is the convergence zone. The trade winds are sort of coming like this and like this. So in the middle here is little to no wind. And depending on the time of year and the systems at that time, depends how wide that convergence zone. So we're going to come down and we're going to hunt for a good place to get through the doldrums where we don't have to motor for multiple days at a time. So we'll be looking at that the closer we get to the equator, which is this guy here. And once we pop into the southern latitudes, the trade winds come up like this. So we'll be downwind again, hopefully heading towards the Marquesas Islands. Bit of an obstacle course getting through here, but luckily with our Starlink Maritime from FMC GlobalSat and our Predict Wind app, we have really good communication and passage planning abilities. So very fortunate there.
We're coming up on the end of day 2. Not much has happened. All we've been doing, catching a ton of fish, losing a ton of fish, and it's been mucho frio. And the waves have just been crazy.
Our bilge pumps keep going off on the port side, so I thought I'd check starboard, and the float switch has popped off the actual little bracket, so it's full of water. So yeah, now I got to try and, it's really rough, so now I got to try and get the float switch back on to its mount. But well, we've just hit a big wave and one of these other pipes must have moved and knocked it off or something, but I'll try and get it back on. We're near Socorro Island where we're going to stop. We've got salt water, we think it's coming through this join at the front.
So you heard Jamie mention Socorro Island. This was where we were planning on doing our one and only stop on the way to French Polynesia. It is 350 miles off the coast of Mexico and is one of a group of 4 islands which are a UNESCO protected marine reserve area. After these islands there is no land until the Marquesas Islands. So we were planning on getting some rest, checking the rigging, and then carrying on with our epic journey.
Just got a triple hookup, but they're all little baby, couple of little baby tuna and a baby mahi, so we'll let them go. Where was your granddad?
I'd like to see land.
It's not too bad. It's only been, what, 48 hours? But it's been a heavy 48 hours, been getting thrown around and that a lot.
We're about to come up to San Benedicto Island. There's 4 islands in this little group of islands here. We were going to go to Socorro, which is down there, another 30 miles. But I spoke to a few people who have been out here and they said this one's the best and it looks pretty sick. It's a volcano and just next to the anchorage there's all of this lava just flowing into the ocean and then obviously solidified from there. Be nice to get a breather. I'm going to tune the rig a little bit. The lower shrouds have become a little bit loose just as everything sort of settled in the rig. Check a couple of little bits and pieces. That was the point of this, to come out here. It's 350 miles. It's a really good shakedown cruise. It's pretty much brand new sails, brand new rigging. So now we're just going to check everything. Maybe have a little bit of a free dive while we're here. It's a big giant manta ray and hammerhead location, so might see some big creatures down there. I think push off.
Land! It feels great. I'm excited for a little barbecue tonight and rest well for the whole crew.
This is the most sleep I've ever gotten on a Parlay passage ever. I'm stoked about it.
I like seeing land again.
It's great. It's like Skull Island at King Kong, coming out of the mist, you know, an hour ago. Pretty interesting looking island. One big rock with a little bit of green on one side of it. So I don't think there's any trees or anything.
Are you looking forward to sleeping at anchor tonight?
I was tired enough last night that I finally got to sleep after my 4 a.m. shift, so you get tired enough you can sleep through anything. But no, it'll be nice.
It's just incredible. We're just come 350 miles off the coast of Mexico, and this freaking island has just popped up out of nowhere. It's so wild, absolutely uninhabited, but it's a big marine reserve, so there's no one, unless you're sort of a scientist, no one is allowed on here.
Wow, it feels weird. I didn't expect it to look like this. My goodness, it's beautiful.
It's weird. It's like we landed on another planet. I feel like I'm in Star Wars or something. So close, but so far.
So we had made it to San Benedicto Island. We had been either close hauled or on a close reach the entire way so far, which made for a pretty uncomfortable 3 days. Our plan was to spend less than 24 hours here, then step off into the trade winds headed for French Polynesia. The shakedown sail was complete, so now the real test was about to begin.